6. I'm Paul Ortiz. I'm filling in for a vacationing Lisa Hart, a well-deserved vacation. She's going to have a long weekend, so we look forward to seeing her next week. Well, today in our program, we're going to be bringing you Jeff Parker. He is our CEO of Village Management Services, and we'll be talking about some of the vaccination programs that are going on, obviously the numbers that the county is reflecting for today, and then also talking about some reopening plans that we might have here in our community. So stay tuned for that. He'll be on in a couple of minutes here. And then also, if we can get to Elsie Addington, she'll be giving us her United update, and that's a regular scheduled segment that we do here on this day. So we look forward to that as well. Well, let's go ahead and tell you about some of the Laguna Woods Village vaccination programs that are going on. This is going to be LagunaWoodsVillageAlerts.com. That's our FAQ. If you have any questions or comments regarding this, you can always email us as well as info@LagunaWoodsVillage.com. And if you're 65 plus who would like more vaccination information, be sure and email that info@LagunaWoodsVillage.com as well. And of course, we have the county vaccine pods that have been out there for quite some time. You can always register on Othena.com. And something nice in the last, I would say, 30 days, Rite Aid is now offering, and you can go over there to riteaid.com, and that's /COVID-19. And CVS is providing the same thing, and they also have an 800 number there that you can call as well. So terrific resources for our vaccination programs. Today at Clubhouse 7, they're going to be finishing off the last people that had their second vaccinations. And then over the weekend, we'll also be reaching out to our homebound residents who will be getting their second vaccination as well. Terrific program with Memorial Care and the VMS staff here, and especially Eileen Paula in our communications department in getting all of that coordinated for our community. Well, as you can see outside, you can actually see some of the tents that are available over there at Clubhouse 7 where they're working this morning. And you're going to see some terrific weather for the next couple of days. Today we're looking at partly cloudy, but it looks like it's already cleared up quite a bit. It's going to be about 64 degrees and in the low 40s. It's a little chilly overnight, but as the days this weekend go by, we're going to see temperatures almost to that 80-degree mark, and then nice temperatures overnight in the low 50s. And then Tuesday, it looks like we might have a little bit of a cooler front coming in with temperatures around 67 and overnight getting back into the 40s once again. And then around California, if you're traveling this weekend, the highways are a little bit busier, so use some caution and take your time. You're looking at Mammoth, 35 degrees out there and 14 overnight. Palm Springs is beautiful, 75 degrees and 50 overnight. And if you're heading south down to San Diego, beautiful temperatures over there, 64 and 50 overnight. So some terrific temperatures out there. And let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset. This is from Mark Rabinowitz. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:46 a.m. and our sunset this evening will be at 7:07 p.m. If you have any wonderful pictures you'd like to share with us, be sure and email them to LagunaWoodsVillageTV@gmail.com. Well, stay tuned. Right after this short break, we're going to be with Jeff Parker, and he's going to explain some of the reopening plans going in our community. Don't go anywhere.
At South County Lexus, we really are different. We're California's exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Lexus Plus is a new way of doing business. At a Lexus Plus dealer, you can expect an upfront, negotiation-free, hassle-free price right on the vehicle. The same price you'll find on our website, all the way through the transaction. At South County Lexus, we feel this is the way of the future, and this is the way the customer prefers to do business. South County Lexus, your exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Different, just like you.
Are your hearing aids not working as well as you'd like? The person who programs your hearing aids is way more important than how much you spent on them. The good news is that we can help. I'm a retired electronics engineer who will precisely reprogram your hearing aids to your unique hearing loss. If that doesn't give you significantly better hearing, I won't charge you a dime. You have nothing to lose and better hearing to gain. So call Hearing Remedy right now and ask for your personal better hearing appointment.
With 2020 behind us, now is the perfect time to take care of all the things that you might not have been able to. Caliber Collision is just up the street from you, and we offer a lifetime warranty on all body and repair work for as long as you own your vehicle. And we offer free pickup and delivery for all our Laguna Woods customers. On or off the road, Safety is very important to us, which is why we are following all COVID-19 guidelines. Caliber Collision, restoring the rhythm of your life.
At Harvard Eye, we are so happy to be open again and to see all of you for your medical and surgical eye care. We're taking great care to protect everyone from COVID-19 by seeing fewer patients, spacing out chairs in our lobby, sanitizing our office constantly, and doing much more. The world is changing a lot, but what hasn't changed is we're honored by your trust and confidence, and we're committed to keeping you safe. We can't wait to see you.
Joining us on the set is Jeff Parker. He's our Chief Executive Officer with VMS. Thanks for joining us today. I know you had a busy week. You were in budget workshops all week.
A lot of workshops and training for the directors on budgets, and we're still finishing up today, and then have a few more next week. But I think we've done over 8 already, and this is a new thing for us. We're basically going through with kind of a department review so that the directors understand what the departments do specifically, what are kind of their major goals and objectives that they have, and how it relates to the old budget, 2019, and the current budget, 2021. Kind of skipped over the 2020 year because of all the uniqueness, but kind of showing where we've been and where we're at now. And really what this is all about is getting the directors and staff ready to go into next year's budget process, which we start in May and June and July, and with the adoption and then process of August being on TV, and then adoption in September for next January. So it's a lot of lead time in doing our budgets, but it's important that everybody's on the same page going into it.
Yeah, I think so too, especially since we always have this kind of weird influx of new directors and previous directors, so you never know where you're going to be with that. So this information is valuable to not only our seniority directors, but those of them that joined possibly in November and October of last year.
Especially the last couple of years, absolutely. It's been really good.
Yeah. Well, you have some great news. I think the numbers are looking pretty good.
Yeah, we're very excited to see this trend continue that we've talked about for the last couple of weeks. Up on the board there, you can see that we're only 97 cases, so we're dropped to under the 100 cases for our daily activity. 12,000 tests, though, still report, so that's a huge shift in the sense of that low a number of cases versus that many tests being done. So that's great news. And we'll show that on the next chart in a minute. But I do want to mention the 167 for hospitalizations and 35 for ICUs. That 167 is the lowest number that the county's seen since October. And the 35 ICU cases is the lowest reported since they started recording COVID.
Wow.
And so back in May, they had 36 people when they started doing their website in ICU, and now we're below that. So that's critical in talking about the next category, where we're talking about what tier are we in? And we're in the red tier now. We just went into that red tier, but we're going to be going into the orange tier next.
Orange tier eventually, huh?
And the question is, when are we going to get there, right? So in a report that came out yesterday, NBC reported that there's the possibility that Orange County might get to the orange tier by as soon as the 31st, as opposed to the projected time frame was April 7th.
Right.
So a week earlier, basically.
Yeah. And that orange tier is just below that 4 mark, and I think when I saw it this morning, it was about 3.2. And there is a little bit of a lag and some time for that data to actually
in the reporting
settle
period. The significance is that if we keep moving, obviously, the more things that we can open. And what I mentioned earlier was that we're gearing up towards our recreation programs. Now, if we go into the orange tier, that we can get into certain activities that can have a 25 to 50% capacity versus the 10% capacity. When we only had 10% capacity, opening up the gym and only having 5 people in there didn't make sense. But now with 25% capacity or more, we're doing a lot better. And as you can see, the critical element of this is that in all reality, we are down in that moderate range. So we're clearly in that next category if we can hold steady there. That 3.5, if it can stay under 4, and the 2.1 and the 3.2 are all trending in the category to get to. So technically, if you look at that, we're in the orange.
Right.
But if you remember, there's the requirement that you stay in the red for 3 weeks. Well, one of the reasons they're talking about it instead of the 7th being a week earlier is it looks like the state and the governor is looking at changing one of the categories, and that's the how many people have been immunized, how many inoculations have got. Now in Orange County alone, we're over 1 million people have gotten shots. So they're looking at if we can lower that threshold because so many people are getting the shots now, then we potentially could drop into the orange as soon as which would be great. Now for me, it's and the organization here, it's great. We're now there. We can start opening these things up. I'm in the process right now of hiring a lot of part-time recreational staff so that we can open these facilities. So it will also be dependent on our ability to have the right staffing because we still need to keep the distancing, the mask requirement, and all of that, and manage this process. But we are certainly excited about opening up. And I mentioned to Lisa, and you and I have talked about it, coming next week and really talking in more depth about our reopening plan.
Right. And then the biggest challenge, I think, will probably be everybody's biting at the bit to try and get into our facilities. We'll be managing, like you said, there are still rules and regulations regarding how many people can be within that facility. So I don't know if you're going to go to a reservation process or first come, first serve, but those are things that will be challenges not only for our residents to get back in the community as far as facilities, but especially our staff.
And that's really what we're going to be looking at is how are we going to facilitate people getting in. We're using a reservation system right now downstairs. We did open up by appointment only to come into manor alterations and resident services. That's working out pretty well. So we probably will be looking at similar type processes with regards to our activities when we open up the clubhouses. At the same time, we're communicating with the clubs. Brian Gruner in Recreation is sending out a survey to contact the clubs to find out where are they? Are they wanting to be engaged the way they were prior to us closing down the facilities? And using an example, the Bridge Club, a very big group of people in Clubhouse 7, well, a lot of people have still have concerns about the distancing and everything there. And so are they going to operate the same way? Or a lot of people have gone online to play Bridge online. So are their numbers going to be the same? We're still not allowing outside residents to come in. So that automatically drops their numbers. So, maybe that gives us the ability to space it out well enough that they could continue whenever they
And it's interesting too, now that you brought up the Bridge Club, is that those are 4-foot card tables. I don't believe there are 6-foot card tables in our community or anywhere really. So that's going to be a big challenge, and that's a very utilized facility, the Clubhouse 7 area and the Bridge Room, and that Bridge Club was wonderful. They're one of the best bridge clubs in the country. So that'll be a challenge that we'll face here post-COVID in the next, I don't know, we say 3 months.
Right, and hopefully we're going to get more and more, instructions from during these orange and yellow levels as to what we can open up and how it should augment. They're still suggesting at the state level that large groups, gatherings of any kind, are not recommended. So we have to balance that between what's a group. If it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, that's not a group. Obviously, we're okay there. But when we talk about gatherings of any type, major groups.
And a lot of it has to do with the relation too, because I know it's like family members. Okay, well, that's difficult too, especially in an atmosphere like we have.
So hopefully when we talk next week and we
Right.
can kind of break that down so people have an understanding of where we're going, how we're managing this, and how we're going to be reopening our facilities.
Well, good. We look forward to having that on Village Television. We'll have a chance to have you and Lisa sit down and kind of propose, how this new reopening plan and post-COVID environment will be. I know you have to get to another budget workshop this morning, so we're going to let you go. So we appreciate you coming in and visiting with us on Village Television.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Have a great weekend. That's Jeff Parker. He's our CEO of VMS, and each week he comes on and discusses many of the things that are happening in our community. Be sure and join us on Mondays and Fridays usually, where he'll be able to give us updates not only on COVID, but many of the things happening in our community. We'll be back with Elsie Addington and Lisa Hart right after this.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by the ever so lovely Elsie Addington, who is here on behalf of United. Well, Elsie, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, Lisa. I really appreciate it. And today is going to be just a bundle of laughs. Okay, I don't know how to. I hope you're really ready for some excitement here.
Well, you always make it entertaining, even if it's a little on the dry side for information. So I appreciate that.
Well, let me ask you the question of the day, Lisa. Have you ever wondered what it is exactly that the United Mutual Governing Documents Committee actually does? I mean, I know that's a pretty exciting, mysterious kind of title, but what do you think it is we do? Any guesses?
You're governing something, right? You're governing. Well, I think you guys are in charge of kind of overseeing.
That's pretty close. God knows we would like to be governors, but what we actually do at the United Governing Docs Committee is we study, direct, and refine the rules of our community. Rules.
Good job.
Which must always be in conformance with the United Mutual Governing Documents. Got it?
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating stuff, right?
No, you know what? Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody has got to do it, and it takes a certain type of person that really and unfortunately, I have a really great committee, and I have some wonderful advisors that actually do like this stuff, and I do too, actually. I could go through stuff all day long, compare, contrast. We don't have that much time to actually do that, but our staff are actually the ones who do things. Like if we ask them, please, could you make sure that this conforms? And they're fabulous, Frances and her gang and Blasilda. But anyway, and of course the ever lovely Pamela Bashline and her crew. Those are the people that we deal with mostly, are like the compliance and the community service people.
Okay.
But, and they're all really great people. But unfortunately, these documents are often mentioned. We're always talking about governing docs, but very few people, unfortunately, actually read them. Mm-hmm. And we hear it a lot, and I don't know if you get it from your part of the village, but we get, well, I didn't know there was that rule. It's like, where is that rule? We've got to tell people where that rule is. Why don't we know about this rule? Well, because we hide them, okay? We hide those documents, and we hide them on the village website under United Documents. Pretty good hiding place, right? They're right out there in the open. Anybody who wants to can go and read them. And if there's any like helpful things you want to tell us about how you'd like to be able to access them better on the website. The website is a living document, well, not a document exactly, but it's a living thing that always can be improved for sure. But in this case, you go right to United, or you go right to documents on the website, right to United, and then scroll down and you go past all the amendments and all the meetings for all the minutes, and down it says governing documents. Yeah. So anybody who wants to read them can. And we thought that was a clever place to hide them, was right out in plain sight.
Well, it's kind of like a manual, you know, nobody reads the manual either.
Oh, and especially people of a certain gender really hate reading directions. I won't go any further than that. So you want to know what those governing documents are?
Yes, please tell us.
Aw, you're so nice to act interested. They are, the United Articles of Incorporation, the United Bylaws,
yep,
and the United Occupancy Agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And it equally important, now those are all on the website. We have some of these that I'm going to mention next are on the website. Some of them are not because of this, well, you'll see why in a minute. But even though those are our main governing documents, the Articles of Incorporation, the Bylaws, and the Occupancy Agreement, which hopefully are all in agreement one with the other, and there's a little hierarchy in there, but that's what we work on the committee. Equally important are the operating rules, and the operating rules are like more like, you know, you have to behave, make your dog behave. Mm-hmm. You can't clutter up your common area. You know, that's more like the rules, the day-to-day rules. Right. But they're huge, the operating rules. And also the California Constitution, we always have to take that into account. Of course, we could use an attorney's help on that usually. The Davis-Sterling Common Interest Development Act, and the United Election Rules. Those are all separately stated governing documents, but obviously we don't have the whole California Constitution and the whole California Davis-Sterling Common Interest. We don't have all that online, I don't believe. But those are all very important, so we have to consider those rules. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have rules for everything, and it seems like it some days, but every city has ordinances and laws. You don't even think about them. Wherever you live, outside or inside, nobody thinks about questioning a speed limit, mm-hmm. or what side of the street do we drive on, or do we have to put a quarter into the parking meter to park here? I mean, every place. And what happens if you don't? You get a ticket, right? Every place has rules and regulations. It's just here we're in a tiny little community, and it seems like a lot of rules, but we don't have any more rules than anybody else does. But you have to have rules, and we live in a country of laws. So just imagine if we didn't have any rules, whether here or elsewhere. These are our goals for 2021. Make the documentation, including our operating rules, supportable and easy to use. Check. Create simplified one-page explanations of applicable rules to go into resale packages, leasing packages, etc., such as the recent resolution on subleasing. Check. Review the financial qualifications for residents. Check. Streamline the resale application process. Check. Review active resolutions and ensure they're accessible from the website. Check. Ensure deleted or otherwise inoperable resolutions are deleted from the active files and archived appropriately, and review current SOPs for directors and revise as needed. Fun, huh? Mm-hmm. But listen, before you get too comfortable, I have some really important news. This is very important, and this is in the news category. Okay. As most people know, because it has received a lot of coverage from board meetings to committee meetings to ThisDay, e-blasts, etc., the Manor Alterations Department was hit very hard this last year, both by the pandemic and the malware incident, compounded by staff shortages and the added stress of the resultant backlogs. The like-for-like test program I talked about on this program a few weeks ago is a result of staff and United Board's acknowledgement of the situation. Now another temporary policy is being put in place so that the department can continue its efforts to get back up to speed through hiring, training, and IT revamping under Manor Alterations Director Robbie Doncost's sturdy leadership.
Okay.
So are you ready, Lisa? Because this is important. There will be a 6-month moratorium on variance applications effective April 9th, 2021. This is very time sensitive, okay? There will be a 6-month moratorium on variance applications effective April 9th, 2021. A variance usually has to do with structural alterations that actually change the shape of the manor, such as building out patios and removing walls. They are changes beyond the standard plans, the new like-for-like program, or something that could be approved over the counter, which will continue. This isn't everything. This is just the variance. The reason for the moratorium is to give manor alterations a break in order for them to reduce the department's backlog of calls, emails, and other works in progress. Due to the pandemic and the malware attack, they have accumulated a severe backlog, and therefore it is United Mutual's contribution to help manor alterations reduce the backlog. We apologize in advance for the inconvenience this may cause to some of our residents. To repeat what I already said, people can still do some updates during this time using the new permitless alteration like-for-like replacement plan that became effective March 9th, or standard over-the-counter plans already available. Both the moratorium and the permitless alterations are in place for 6 months. It is expected at the end of the 6 months, the variance moratorium can be lifted since manor alterations will have reduced their backlog. The permitless like-for-like alterations will be reviewed after 4 months to make a decision to extend past the total 6 month of this program. Thank you for being so patient, Lisa.
Well, that's a good thing that they're able to do that. So that's awesome. Now there's a meeting that will be coming up here April 15th. Will that all be discussed?
We'll be progressing on our those goals that I read out to you. So
okay. And that's going to be Thursday, April 15th at 1:30 in the afternoon. And yes, folks can follow along probably through Granicus.
They can, but as long as it's posted up there, they usually can get on. They can get onto Zoom as well. And you go to calendar. You go to the calendars. You find the meeting you want and click on that, and then hopefully that'll lead you to the Zoom connection. Otherwise, yes, Granicus is also available.
Okay. All right. Perfect, Elsie. Thank you very much for the update.
Well, thank you. And I'm sorry I had so much stuff to cover today, but thank you very much, Lisa.
It's all right. Thank you. And we'll be right back after this.
Well, before we let you go, we want to take a look outside one more time and see that beautiful weather we're going to have for today. It looks like our temperatures are going to be really nice in that low 64 range, a little cooler today, but as you can see, tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to have some warm temperatures, 79, 77 degrees, and then cool off a little bit on Monday and Tuesday, and even Tuesday it can be a little, partly cloudy and quite a bit cooler than it has been over the weekend. But great temperatures out there to be sure and go out there and have yourself a nice walk, walk the dog, do some kind of exercise and enjoy the weekend. Well, we thank you for joining us for this last half hour. I'm Paul Ortiz, and a vacationing Lisa Hart will be joining us again next week. So we look forward to seeing her. But enjoy your time right here in Laguna Woods Village. We can always watch us at 12:30 and then at 5 o'clock, and then you can see us on YouTube as well. Thanks a lot.